Hey folks, Jimmy here, aka Pilot of the Dead. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another issue of Mortal Realms magazine. As per usual with all these videos, if you like them, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and drop a comment down below. I love hearing back from you guys and it goes a fantastically long way to help the channel out as well. So, without further ado, this week we are on issue 60, so only 20 issues left. We're getting through them pretty quick now. Or at least that's how it feels, in all honesty. And with this issue, we have some more models, of course. We have the Bladegheist Revenants. We get 5. Normally, if you buy a box of these, you get 10. So whether we'll get the other sprue, I do not know. But in all honesty, it's not in the foreseeable future. So when you look at this sprue, you will notice the numbers don't quite add up, because you have got, like, you go from anywhere between 2 and 35. And yeah, not as many of the in-between ones, so all of the 20s are actually missing, so because they're on the other sprue. But you do get 5 very cool units that add to your Nighthaunt army as well, which is always very nice to do. And without further ado, let's jump into the magazine. So, Bladegheist Revenants are amongst the most efficient and brutal bringers of death found in the Nighthaunt processions. They are savage warriors who cut unpredictable paths of slaughter across the mortal realms. The secret to these spirits' fury is a cruel curse that forces them into eternal torment. So with these, of course, with all Nighthaunt, they are cursed to become part of the Nighthaunt processions by Nagash, and each one is cursed with a different way of doing it. So most of the Nighthaunt are sometimes killers, and murderers and thieves and everything like that have been cursed and punished by Nagash. And with Bladegheist, though, they're a little bit different. So the fate of the Bladegheist Revenants is cruel even by the standards of the Nighthaunt. Though they are armed like soldiers, it is terror rather than skill at arms that fuels their onslaughts. Each suffered a particularly awful death, such as being buried alive or crushed by spikes. Nagash has cursed these poor souls to be eternally trapped in their last dying moment. This causes them to flail hopelessly as they try to escape their fate. Each Bladegheist Revenant wields a tomb great blade. As the spirits flail and writhe, their colossal blades are swung violently back and forth, hacking off limbs and inflicting grievous wounds upon any unfortunate enough to get in their way. So, as I say, with these are completely different. These are people that have been trapped and kind of killed off in a very particular gruesome way, whether it's been buried alive, suffocated, drowned, anything like that. Nagash, being Nagash and being quite vengeful, decides to make them suffer for eternity, as a Bladegheist Revenant sometimes. So he's good on Nagash for you. But that's of course not it. So you also have an expedition log for the Prime Innerlands, Day 80, Necoria. We heard them before we saw them. A great wailing came up from the tombs as dozens of men and women cried out in horror and pain. Help me, they cried, 100 voices claiming to be drowning or burning or suffocating. By the time we saw them, it was too late. They ran through us in a hacking, desperate stampede, blind to anything save their own dread. These wretches may be trapped in terror, but they fight with fury of hardened warriors. I fear we will join their number before long. So, always nice to see a little bit of kind of story and a little as well to accompany lore into especially the Nighthaunt, because you don't get a lot of stories to do with the Nighthaunt, in all honesty. There's a couple in the shape of things like Nagash, the Book of Nagash and everything like that, and of course the Soul Wars and Neferata, but there's not much more after that really. There's a few other little bits and pieces here and there, but you don't see a huge amount of it, unfortunately. On to the next page, where you got some information about the Suffocating Gravetides, which is one of the good old spells that you can buy. So if you want to have some extra magic, you can buy a pack of spells, and then the spells and everything like that, if you can get hold of it, and that is one of them, which is pretty cool, which is essentially a wave of just death magic, which is pretty interesting and pretty different, and very interesting to see as well. You can get some really cool looks out of it as well if you do buy one and paint it up. Moving over to the next page, we've got some more information about the Stormcast Eternal, and this time we're getting some of the lore behind Aventis Firestrike. So, every Lord Arcanum is a legend in their own right. They are masters of magic, combat, and command alike. One Stormforged champion stands above his kin, the blazing magister known as Aventis Firestrike. Even before being reforged as the Stormcast Eternal, Aventis Firestrike was an impressive hero. He was a warrior mage who dedicated his life to fighting the bloodbound worshippers of Khorne, and became known to his enemies as Fire Soul. When the servants of the blood god burnt Firestrike's home, he wove a spell to transform his own body into flames, and he consumed the sphere of Realmstone known as the ever-burning coal, giving him even greater magical might. Even when he took human form once more, the Realmstone remained within him. Further inflaming his passion for vengeance, this caught the eye of Sigmar, who remade Firestrike as a mighty Lord Arcanum. So Aventis Firestrike is one of the models that you can buy. Fantastic sculpt as well, having that Taurolon that he rides on, which is a pretty cool unit. Having a very interesting winged beast, which is always very, very nice. And as you can see, compared to regular units, is pretty bloody huge. Is definitely a very cool unit. Yeah, very, very nice one as well. So if you do get your hands on that, have fun painting that guy, because it's a bit of a beast, in all honesty, and very, very nice. You're done. Moving a little bit forward, we've got some more information about the Spiral Crux. So in the Age of Sigmar, the liberation of Shaman began. The Stormcast Eternals fought alongside the Kharadron Overlords and others to free the Spiral Crux. So this is part 4 of that story. Before we move into the realm of Akshi, we're staying in the realm of Metal, which of course is besieged by the followers of Zeech and the great Gaunt Summoners and stuff like that as well. And they're kind of the destruction of them. We also get some more lore behind some of the Kharadron Overlords as well, including Brock Grungson, the Lord Meganate, who is a legendary Kharadron privateer who frequently sails in search of ether gold as well, which is a pretty cool unit as well to get if you do buy that and you like Kharadron Overlords. Try and get yourself one of him. He's a pretty decent one, and he looks super cool as well, which is always good. Your how to build guide, so you've got of course multiple heads, so it doesn't matter which body they go on, but you have got 5 heads. Just make sure you're plonking them on, and just pick and choose whichever one you want to go on each model. It doesn't matter too much, they're not fitted to each particular one, so you can have them looking slightly different if you wanted to. Your how to paint guide, very, very similar to most of the other good old Night Haunt paint guides. You shouldn't have an issue with this. It should be pretty easy. Paint it up how you want. I personally will be painting it different to this because I don't like that Cantor bloody blue. I don't think it fits right on the Night Haunt. You know, it's not terrible, but yeah, just not my thing, really. Also paint it up with rust as well if you want to with that one. Then you've got your War Scroll page, of course, so you got a bit more information about them, so how to use them and everything like that, including their abilities, including their Fearful Frenzy and Whirling Death as well. And of course, that Tomb Great Blade is a pretty cool weapon as well on there. And of course, how to use the 2 abilities that the Bladegheist Revenants have, which is the main thing for it. Then you've got your path to Akshi, which is going along the Sigyorn as well, and warring across the realm of Metal to the Flames of the Crucible. So, which is the final battle at Shaman for the magazine as well. So kind of chasing down the Nighthaunt who have claimed Charmanite, and yeah, discovered an ancient realm gate that leads over to Akshi, which is perfectly timed. We'll see it going over to Akshi very, very soon. And of course, if you want to go through the Battle of the Gates of Fire, your territories are slightly different. Instead of being a perfectly straight line, going up 6 inches into your middle battle mat, and make sure you got your 3 spread across, and yeah, have fun with that as well. So pretty cool. And then going a little bit more forward into it, so if you wanted to choose from 2 choices from the heroes list and 6 choices from the Nighthaunt troop list, which is pretty cool, which are both all on there as well. And then exactly the same for the Stormcast Eternals. Any unit with a star next to it takes up 2 choices though, so you have got some that will take up 2. So for instance, with the Evocators on Celestial Dracolines, takes up 2 slots. A Lord Arcanum on Celestial Dracoline takes up 2 slots. Reignor the Grim Hailer takes up 2 slots, and so does the Lord Arcanum on Griff Charger as well. In all honesty, for Nighthaunt troops, there is not any of them that takes up 2 slots, so you'll be fine, because they are a little bit weaker, of course, than the Stormcast Eternals. But yeah, otherwise, have fun with that. It's pretty cool. It is just literally, you know, beat the crap out of each other until one person wins, from mainly. So it's always pretty fun. 1 victory point for each time you slay an enemy unit as well with that one. And then, of course, reminding us that next issue we're going into the Realm of Fire, which of course has still some of them pretty cool images. So you've got the models that you're going to get, which is the bases and the bridge that we get in the next issue. Some more of the statues and stuff like that as well. You've got Neve Black Talon, you've got good old the Ether Wings as well over there, and on this side, of course, we've got that Mortis engine, which is the pretty cool unit that I keep forgetting its name of, and is yeah, one that I'm very, very much looking forward to having that big unit to keep going. And then we're into Realm of Akshi. Next week, though, of course, we're getting the Sigmarite altar and bridges, as well as, you know, 2 burners as well. 2 good old keep us going with more good old scenery, as per usual. I must admit, mine's all pretty much a bit of a backlog at the moment. I've got to spray paint a lot. The issue after, though, issue 62, we're getting more Citadel skulls, and the idea is that you can make custom objective markers with them, which isn't a bad idea. You use some of the bits and pieces that you had from offcuts from other sprues, so whether it was the good old Evocators on Celestial Dracolines, the offcut bits and pieces that you didn't use. Same with the bits and pieces from the Hex Wraiths that you got a couple of weeks ago as well, and any other offcuts and bits and pieces as well that you might have scattered around, unless you've chucked them in the bin. But otherwise, you can make some pretty cool objective markers with these and mix them with the skulls. If you are going to do it, personally, buy some spare bases. Get the MDF ones from eBay or anything like that. 32mm, you can make some pretty cool objective markers with it. Or you can get the official ones if you wanted to. They are a bit more expensive, so you won't get as much for your money. But you can do it that way. So it's always a pretty interesting way of doing things. If you are going to do it my way personally of doing it, if you're going to do that, glue everything down first and then start painting it. So anything that's slightly buried is going to remain buried and you don't need to paint it up too much. Or if you wanted to, you can paint every individual unit and then build it up that way. It's up to you. I wouldn't do that for schools though, personally. If you're just going to have a pile of schools, literally get them all painted at one go instead of save yourself some time and effort. But that's it for this week. Next week, of course, we'll be back with that one next Wednesday, and yeah, into the Realm of Fire we go, which is pretty cool. And the idea of the fact that it's going to change slightly on the actual covers from the way we've had with there, with all the chains and everything like that, and the very metallic feel that's been going on so far. Right, thank you very, very much for watching, and yeah, I'll catch you next week. Bye bye now.